Good evening, everybody. In just a minute, the screen will no longer be black. Alright. Alright, you guys, so I gotta do a lot of talking to you before we can actually get started with the show. As you can probably see from the title, this is episode 4.5, and if you've been following along, you would know that that would mean that there should be an episode 4. But there's not. So, on Thursday, I do believe, I did a 6.5 hour long stream before I stopped to take a break, pause the stream, and went to go get something to eat and review what I had played so far. And unfortunately, while I was reviewing it, I discovered that, well, everything that I had done has disappeared. There was... Oh, okay, this is perfect. Alright, so I'm gonna turn off the sound for a moment. That way I can hear myself. We'll be turning that back on now. But anyways, 4.5 was, or episode 4 was mainly just going to be to introduce several mods that I had downloaded, and that was about it. In that episode, really the only thing you really missed as far as how the game goes is introductions to mods that you will see in this episode and the coming episodes to come, because I'm now running something like 70 mods now. But you'll get the introductions to the mods like you got in the last episode, and then the only other major thing was I accidentally did one of the Daedric quests. I got pulled into it. I went to show you on the map. I went to Falkreath here and stopped, talked to the guy that runs the farm, and he told me about how his daughter died, and that's whose funeral was being held. That's the event whenever you first arrive at Falkreath. And then I went down into the gel cell, which is where the mission that I had accidentally activated sent me to. And I didn't even want to do a Daedric quest yet, like for a while, but I didn't know it was a Daedric quest because I didn't know that there was one for this Daedric prince. But anyways, so I go down to speak to this murderer that they had captured, and I don't know why they wanted me to do that or why my character volunteered to do that, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, I see this guy, and he's in this special gel cell, and I talk to him, and I find out that the reason why he killed the girl was because he was a werewolf, and that he stole a ring from Hercene, the Daedric Prince of the Hunt, who is also the Daedric Prince that created lycanthropy, which is where you get werewolves, werebears, were-crocodiles, and were-tigers. I don't know how many of those actually appear in vanilla Skyrim. I know there was a big thing about all the hype of with Dawnguard they were going to bring back werebears. But I've probably logged about 500-600 hours of just straight out vanilla Skyrim with zero mods whatsoever, and I never ran into a werebear. But then again, I also never ran into a werewolf. Anyways, so he gives me this ring because he wants me to give it back to Hercene so that he can be freed from the curse, and hopefully he can find some way to atone for his sins, even though he's been doomed to die in the jail cell. I don't know how exactly he plans to do that. That's not important. What is important is the reason why I did the quest. So he gave me this ring, and I can't take it off, and it causes lycanism, and it causes um, the wearer to change into a werewolf at complete random without warning. And it's because it's the cursed ring of her seed. And I can't take the ring off until I've got the curse cleansed from it. So he tells me I have to go kill this legendary beast, and that's the only way to get her seen to acknowledge me and be willing to speak for me, because no mortal's ever been able to do it. And so I go and I hunt down this beast. He's over around this area, I believe. Or he could have been in Evergreen Grove. I'm not really sure. But he was somewhere close to Falkreath. And so I hunt the beast, and then it's a albino stag, which is completely unique to any other animal in Skyrim. I haven't even seen any mods that add those in. And I killed it, and then a ethereal or ghost version of the albino stag shows up, and it turns out that the stag was the Tamriel's was the way for the Daedra to be able to manifest himself in Tamriel. I can't think of what the word is. And then, so here I am speaking to the Prince of the Hunt, and he says, you know, I'll remove the curse from the ring, but only if you do one last thing for me as my champion, since you've earned the right to be my champion. And I says, okay, what the hell do you want me to do? And he says, you have to go and you have to hunt the hunter. You have to hunt down the werewolf that gave you the ring in the first place, which would have been easy, but whenever he gave me the ring, he transformed into a werewolf and broke out of the jail, disappeared. And so then my map gets updated with this grotto here. And I've been all through this little mini mountain range on vanilla Skyrim. I've never done this mission before, and I've never had this location show up. So I have a feeling that it's a location where the only way that it will activate or, you know, exist is if you activate the mission. But it is a beautiful little cave, and you guys will be seeing a little bit of that while I'm getting ready before I make the final announcement. Or before I begin what is the start of the final announcement. Anyways, the Daedric quest, if you kill the werewolf, then he will give you if I can find it. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. This would make it a lot easier. The Savior's Hide. Because what you do is after you kill the werewolf guy, you rip off his hide and you present it to Hircine. And then he takes the hide and the ring, and he turns the ring, or he turns the hide into the Savior's Hide, which is light armor. It has the same ratings as basic elven light armor, and it increases magic resistance by 15 and increases poison's resistance by 50. So it is a very good thing to have, especially if you're planning on dealing with necromancers, witches, the Forsworn, or just you're out in the wild and you know that you're going to get attacked by a couple spiders. The next thing that I was, or the other thing that I was showing off, and you'll see this right here, this Vanger Greymane is looking for weapons, and now he's either going to buy a weapon or he's going to be a snob and he's going to run off. And she is looking for clutters and ingredients. Usually, clutters is just any of the misc items, but I've noticed that whenever people are looking for clutters and ingredients, if you have firewood, they will immediately go for the firewood. So let's watch this real quick. I got 15 gold. She decided on something. She took a thistle branch, and now my cell's reputation is up to 97%. And this is the automatic um, version of this. This is I believe it's called the Market Stall mod. You can find it on the Nexus. It is freaking amazing. I went to sleep and I woke up and my speech skill went up 3 levels, and I went to sleep with a little over 1,000 gold, and I now have um, 9,000 gold. And the only thing that's in here is a couple ingredients that I was kind of iffy about selling, a couple potions I was kind of iffy about selling, but the main thing that's in here is um, all of my Draugr arrows, all of my or ancient Nordic arrows, all of my iron arrows, a good chunk of my steel arrows, and then a large amount of the weapons that I've picked up along the way that just I'm not going to use. Now this guy right here, he's a cheap little prick. But anyways, moving on. So the the main thing that episode 4 was all about was the Hunterborn mod that I downloaded. And you can see that here. And I will be showing it off, so don't worry. But the Hunterborn mod, you get forage, which you really do already in Skyrim, but this isn't manual, and after you do this in an area, you can still manually forage for any kind of potion ingredients. And then I got primitive cooking from it, which I can go up to any fireplace and I can cook food, but it's very narrow on the food that I can cook. But I can also make a few strange brews, and strange brews will make me very drunk, but they will give me strange ideas for cooking, and that will add in any of the cooking recipes in the game period that I can't cook through primitive cooking. Um, and then it added Scrimshaw, which is it's a in-self crafter, meaning I don't have to go to a forge or any kind of a table or anything to craft. I can just craft right there on the spot, but it's only for crafting certain things. And then I added to that, I think it's called campfires, but that gives me, uh, oh, this is sense direction. This goes with Hunterbound. And then campfires, I get survival skills, which are build a campfire, that's kind of obvious. Create an item, kind of like the Scrimshaw, but different items. Harvest wood, kind of like, whenever you go into a city and you chop wood and you get firewood, except this is harvesting dead wood from the area around you. And survival instincts. Focus your senses to detect tinder, the sounds of creatures, the scent of the dead, only use outdoors. Movement cancels the effect. And then both of those have their own little skill trees. Hunterbound you can see in the MCM menu. And you can see I've been doing a lot of Hunterbound. I have field dressed 10 animals, skinned, oh wait, no. That's my time, that's not showing. Okay. whenever I first start out, field dressing